The wind almost takes you off your feet. It slams into your chest the moment you step out of the helicopter, thin air and ice colliding with your lungs like they don't recognize you anymore. The sound is constant up here, an endless low howl tearing across stone and snow, as if the mountain itself is breathing. You stagger, boots skidding on rock glazed with frost. Behind you, the helicopter lifts, blades chopping the air, the noise swallowing any chance of second thoughts. Then it's gone. Silence rushes in to replace it. Not real silence, never that, just wind, always wind. You stand there alone at the edge of the world. Ahead of you, perched impossibly on a jagged spine of mountain, rises the monastery. Stone walls the color of old bone, roofs dusted with snow, narrow windows like watchful eyes. It looks less built than grown, as if the mountain exhaled once centuries ago, and this place emerged fully formed. You've seen it before, in black and white. Your fingers tighten around the camera hanging from your neck. The metal is painfully cold even through your gloves, the same model your grandfather used. You had it serviced, polished, made ready. It still smells faintly of oil and dust and something older you can't quite name. The dog appears before you hear it. A shape detaches itself from the shadow of the stone wall, large, still, watching. A German shepherd. Its coat is thick, sable and black, fur rippling in the wind without effort. Snow clings to its muzzle. Its eyes are dark and unnervingly calm, fixed on you with an intensity that makes your steps slow without you deciding to. It doesn't bark. It doesn't move closer. It just waits. You swallow. The sound feels too loud in your own head. "So," you murmur, breath fogging, "you're real." The dog tilts its head slightly, as if weighing you. You spent your entire career chasing stories that sit right on the edge of belief. Forgotten villages, vanishing cultures, human rituals swallowed by time. But this started as something gentle. A story audiences would love. The mountain dog who never came down. That's what your grandfather called it, scribbled in the margin of a notebook, yellowed with age. 12 years, he wrote. 12 winters. The dog arrived one day and never left. Lived among monks at the highest monastery on the border. Loyal, peaceful, a symbol. And then the footage stops. You remember the first time you watched it? You were 13. Rain tapping against your bedroom window. Your grandfather's old tapes stacked like relics on the floor. You slid one into the player out of boredom, expecting shaky landscapes and long, silent shots of clouds. Instead, you saw the dog. Young, powerful, standing in fresh snow as monks laughed softly behind the camera. The footage lingered on its eyes. Even then, alert, intelligent, searching the horizon as if listening for something no one else could hear. Then the tape cut to static. No ending! No explanation. Your grandfather died 3 months later. Heart attack. Sudden. Unfinished, just like the film. The monk said he left voluntarily. That's what the email said when you reached out last year. Your grandfather was welcomed here. He asked questions. He understood when it was time to stop. Understood what? The dog turns away from you now, pads crunching softly over snow and stone, and begins to walk toward the monastery entrance. It doesn't look back. Your feet move before your thoughts catch up. You follow. Each step closer sharpens the altitude's grip on your body. Your heartbeat thuds hard and uneven, like it's arguing with the thin air. The smell up here is clean to the point of emptiness. Snow, stone, and something faintly resinous drifting down from the pines far below. The monastery door looms tall and dark. The dog stops in front of it. For a moment, nothing happens. Then the door opens inward with a low groan, wood protesting centuries of use. A monk stands there. He is older than you expected, thin, slightly bent. His face is a map of lines carved deep by weather and time. His eyes, though, are sharp, bright blue, startling against the gray of his brows. He looks past you first, toward the empty sky, then back at you. You came, he says. His voice is calm, not surprised. You nod, suddenly aware of how small you must look, standing there, camera clutched like a shield. My name is? We know who you are, he interrupts gently. A pause stretches between you, filled only by wind slipping through stone corridors. You have your grandfather's eyes, he adds. Something tightens behind your ribs. The dog sits at his feet, perfectly still, gaze forward. You were expecting me, you say. The monk inclines his head just enough to be an answer. Yes. You step inside. The door closes behind you with finality that echoes through the stone hallway. The temperature drops immediately, cold seeping through your clothes, settling into your bones. Candles flicker along the walls, their light trembling, casting shadows that stretch and shrink like living things. Your boots echo too loudly. You try to walk softer. The monk moves ahead of you, sandals whispering against stone, the dog rising to follow him without command. You notice how close it stays, always just within reach, always aware of him, trained, a part of you notes automatically. The hallway opens into a wide chamber. High ceiling, wooden beams dark with age, long tables worn smooth by centuries of hands. The smell here is different. Wax, old paper, something faintly metallic that pricks at your memory without explanation. Other monks watch you from the periphery. None of them speak. You feel like you've stepped into a held breath. The monk gestures to a bench. "Sit," he says. "You do. Your camera rests on your knee, heavier now than it was outside." "You came to finish his work," the monk says. Not a question. "Yes." The word comes out rougher than you intended. "He believed the story mattered," you add. "That it meant something." The monk's gaze drifts, just for a moment, to the dog. "So did we," he says. "Your pulse quickens. You called it a legend, you say. A dog who chose this place, chose peace." Another pause. Longer this time. "Legends," the monk says slowly, "are often built to make truths easier to carry." The words settle into you, heavy. The dog turns its head then, looks directly at you. Its eyes are older than its body should allow. Not tired, not dull, just burdened, as if it's been watching the same horizon for far too long. A sudden image flashes in your mind. Grainy film, snow falling thick and fast, a truck grinding its way up a mountain road, a dog jumping down from the back, younger, leaner, muscles coiled with purpose, a man's gloved hand gripping its collar. You blink. The vision evaporates, leaving only candlelight and stone. "You can film," the monk says, "but there are rules." You straighten. "What kind of rules?" He meets your eyes fully now. "There are questions you are ready to ask," he says, "and questions you are not." The dog stands, walks toward you. Slow, deliberate. It stops inches from your knees. You don't reach out. You don't breathe. The dog's breath fogs faintly in the cold air between you. Its gaze never leaves your face. Then it turns its head toward a narrow corridor leading deeper into the monastery. A place the light doesn't quite reach. The monk watches your reaction carefully. "The dog has always known where it belongs," he says. The sentence should feel comforting. It doesn't. Not up here, not now, because something in your chest understands, before your mind does, that this story, this beautiful, gentle story you thought you were finishing, was never meant to come down the mountain. You wake before the bell. You don't know how you know it's before the bell. There's no clock in the room, no phone signal, no glow from a screen to anchor time, just darkness, pressed close, and the sound of wind threading through stone like a low chant. Your breath fogs the air above the narrow bed. The room they've given you is spare to the point of severity. Whitewashed walls, a wooden desk scarred by decades of use, a small window cut deep into stone framing nothing but black sky and drifting snow. On the desk sits your grandfather's camera case, exactly where you left it. Exactly. You lie still, listening. Footsteps pass somewhere beyond the wall. Soft, unhurried. The monastery is awake even when it feels like the world outside has stopped moving. Then you hear it. A low sound. Not a growl. Not a bark. A presence. You sit up. The German shepherd lies on the stone floor near the door, head resting on its paws. You don't remember it entering. You're certain you closed the door. Its eyes are open, watching you. "You scared me," you whisper, though your pulse is already slowing, your body responding to the calm. It radiates without permission. The dog doesn't move. It simply continues to exist, solid and grounded, like another piece of architecture. You swing your legs over the side of the bed. The stone floor steals heat instantly through your socks, sharp and grounding. When you stand, the dog rises with you, smooth and silent, as if mirroring your intention rather than reacting to it. You reach for your jacket. The dog's ears flick. You pause. "What?" you murmur. It turns its head toward the door, then toward the window, then back to you. Impatience maybe, or insistence. You shrug into your jacket and quietly open the door. The corridor beyond is dim, lit only by candles spaced far apart, their flames shivering in unseen drafts. The smell of burning wax mixes with cold stone and something else. Old iron, faint but persistent. The dog steps past you, taking the lead without ceremony. You follow! Your camera hangs at your side, forgotten for the moment, your hand brushing against it with each step like a reassurance that you're still yourself. Still here for a reason. You recognize. The dog leads you down a narrow stairwell spiraling deeper into the mountain. Not up, down. Each step echoes softly. The air cools further. Moisture beads on the stone walls, catching candlelight like dull stars. You think of your grandfather then, not as he was near the end. Frail, breathless, but earlier. Sunburned, laughing, adjusting a lens while telling you to hold still. Just one more second. This matters. You wonder how many mornings he woke before the bell, how many times he followed this same path. The stairway opens into a small chapel carved directly into the rock. No windows, just candles, dozens of them, their light pooling and overlapping, pushing back the dark in uneven waves. Wooden pews line the space, polished by generations of hands and knees. At the front stands a simple altar, unadorned except for a single object resting at its center, a metal collar. Your steps slow, the dog stops beside it. The collar is old, leather cracked and darkened, metal fittings dulled with age. A name is stamped into a small brass plate, letters worn but legible. König, King. You stare at it, a faint pressure building behind your eyes, though you don't yet know why. Footsteps sound behind you. You found it, a voice says. You turn. The monk from last night stands at the chapel entrance. He carries a candle, its flame steady despite the draft. In this light, his age is even more apparent. His hands tremble slightly, not with weakness, but with something closer to restraint. What is this? You ask. Your voice sounds wrong in the chapel. Too loud, too alive. The monk approaches the altar slowly. The dog shifts but does not move away, its shoulder brushing lightly against your leg. It belonged to the first dog, the monk says. The one your grandfather filmed. You kept it, you say? Yes. Why? The monk considers you for a long moment. Because some objects remember, he says finally, even when people try not to. Your gaze drops back to the collar. The leather is stiff, but you can imagine it new. Supple, wrapped around a powerful neck. You imagine hands fastening it, firm, practiced hands. A memory that isn't yours presses in again. A man in a long coat, snow blowing sideways. A dog straining at its leash, muscles taut, eyes locked forward. The man's boots are polished despite the conditions. His voice is sharp, commanding. German. You inhale sharply. The image fractures and disappears. You step back from the altar. My grandfather didn't mention this, you say. No, the monk agrees, he would not. Why not? The monk lifts the candle higher, illuminating the dog's face. This place, he says, has always been a refuge. For the dog, you say. For men, he corrects softly. The word lands wrong. Your fingers curl, nails biting into your palm through your glove. You told me he asked questions, you say. You told me he understood when to stop. Yes. What made him stop? The monk's mouth tightens. Just a fraction. The same thing that brings you here now, he says. A sense that the story you think you're telling is not the one that wants to be heard. The dog turns its head toward him. Their eyes meet. Something passes between them. Familiar. Old. You raise your camera without thinking. The soft mechanical click of it powering on sounds obscene in the chapel, like a cough during prayer. The red light blinks to life. The monk doesn't object. Instead, he says, if you continue, you must do so knowing there is no clean ending. I'm not here for clean, you reply. The dog looks back at you. For the first time since you arrived, its tail moves. Just once. A small, controlled motion. Approval? Or acknowledgement? The monastery bell rings then, deep, resonant. The sound travels through stone and bone alike, vibrating in your chest, resetting the world. Come, the monk says. Breakfast. You hesitate, eyes still on the collar. Later, you say. I want to film this first. The monk nods. As you wish. He leaves the chapel without another word. You kneel. The stone floor is brutally cold, even through your pants. You reach out, stopping just short of touching the collar, and frame the shot carefully. Candlelight flickers across worn leather and metal. Your breath slows as the familiar focus settles in, the narrowing of the world to edges and light and meaning. Behind the camera, you feel steady, in control. You don't notice the dog move until its reflection appears in the metal. It sits directly behind you now, posture alert, gaze fixed, not on the altar, but on the dark passage beyond the chapel. You lower the camera slightly. What is it? You whisper. The dog does not look at you. The bell's echo fades. The silence that follows is heavier than before. Somewhere deep within the mountain, a door closes. Breakfast is silent. Not awkwardly so, not tense, just deliberate. You sit at a long wooden table worn smooth by centuries of elbows and prayer. Steam rises from a simple bowl set before you. Dark bread, thin soup, something herbal drifting up with the heat. The monks eat without hurry, movements economical, practiced. Spoons touch wood softly. Cups are lifted, lowered. No one asks how you slept. No one mentions the chapel. The dog lies at your feet, not sleeping, never quite sleeping. Its body is relaxed, but its ears twitch at every shift of fabric, every footstep crossing stone. When a monk passes behind you, the dog's muscles tighten for a fraction of a second, then release. Guarding, you think. Not you, the room. You force yourself to eat. The soup tastes of salt and roots, warming your chest as it goes down. Outside, light has begun to filter through the narrow windows, cold, pale, unforgiving. Morning on the mountain doesn't arrive gently, it claims the space. When the meal ends, the monks rise as one, chairs sliding back in soft unison. They disperse without ceremony, robes whispering against stone, leaving you alone at the table with the old monk and the dog. "You may film the exterior today," he says, folding his hands. "The courtyard, the upper paths, and the archives," you ask. He doesn't answer immediately. Instead, he reaches down and rests his hand on the dog's head. The animal leans into the touch, eyes closing briefly. Not in pleasure, but in something closer to acceptance. "The archives are sensitive," the monk says. "Sensitive how? They contain names." You glance down at your camera. "That's kind of the point." A long breath leaves him. It sounds heavier than it should. "You will walk with Brother Matthias," he says at last. "He knows the old paths." You nod. The monk stands, pauses, then adds, "Do not stray beyond the eastern ridge." "Why?" "Because that is where the path stops being quiet." He turns and leaves. The dog remains. You look down. "Am I allowed to borrow you?" you ask softly. The dog lifts its head, studies you, then stands. It walks toward the door. You follow. The courtyard is a bowl of stone and snow. Sunlight reflects off white so fiercely it forces your eyes to narrow. The air up here feels sharper in daylight. Every breath scraped thin before it reaches your lungs. Flags strung between towers snap and crack in the wind, their colors faded beyond easy recognition. Brother Matthias waits near the outer wall. He is younger than the others. Late 30s maybe. Strong hands, a face marked not by age, but by restraint. He nods once when he sees you. "This way," he says. The dog takes position between you without instruction, walking slightly ahead, choosing the path. You film as you go. Stone walls, weathered carvings, narrow staircases etched directly into the mountain. The monastery reveals itself piece by piece like a body slowly uncovered, functional, severe, beautiful in its refusal to impress. Brother Matthias speaks little. When he does, it's factual. That tower was rebuilt after an avalanche. These stones predate the monastery. We built around them. That path is closed in winter. Too many disappearances. You stop walking." "Disappearances?" He glances at you. "Travelers," he clarifies. "Long ago." The dog stops too, turns, looks at you. Brother Matthias follows your gaze. His expression tightens almost imperceptibly. "You feel it, don't you?" he asks. "The altitude, the weight." You don't answer, he gestures ahead. "Come!" The eastern ridge is a narrow spine of rock jutting out over nothing. Snow has been swept away here by constant wind, exposing raw stone etched with old scratches, marks that might be prayers, or warnings, or something else entirely. The dog slows as you approach, its head lowers, its gait changes. "What's wrong?" you murmur. Brother Matthias stops beside you. "This is where they came," he says. "Who?" He doesn't look at you. "Men who did not want to be found." Your camera feels suddenly heavier. You pan slowly across the ridge. The mountains beyond roll endlessly, jagged and indifferent. Borders mean nothing from up here. Nations blur into geography. Escape routes reveal themselves not as lines on a map, but as slopes and shadows. "After the war," Brother Matthias continues, "the mountain did not ask questions." Your throat dries. "You're saying," "I am saying," he interrupts gently, "that this place offered shelter when the world was burning." The dog releases a low sound, barely audible, not aggressive, unsettled. "You lower the camera." "My grandfather," you say carefully. "What did he find?" Brother Matthias finally meets your eyes. "He found proof." Your pulse accelerates. Of what? That the story of the dog was never just about loyalty. The wind surges, nearly knocking you sideways. You stagger. The dog presses briefly against your leg, steadying you without looking. Brother Matthias watches this. "The first dog," he says, "arrived with a man." The sentence lands like ice water. "What kind of man?" "A decorated officer," he replies. "At least once." Images crash into you without warning. A polished boot stepping down from a truck, a hand gripping a leash too tightly, a dog trained to sit, to wait, to obey without hesitation. You steady yourself on a rock. "He didn't stay," you say. "No," Brother Matthias agrees. "He passed through." "Because of the monastery?" "Because of the monastery," he confirms. You look at the dog, at the way it watches the horizon, posture alert, eternally oriented outward. "And the dog?" you ask. Brother Matthias's voice lowers. "The dog stayed." You turn back to the ridge. "That wasn't a choice," you say. "No," he agrees again. "It was collateral." The word tastes wrong. You film anyway. You film the ridge, the drop, the impossible beauty, the silence that feels like it's pressing its finger to its lips. When you stop recording, your hands are cold enough to sting. We should go back, Brother Matthias says. The dog does not move. It stares down the eastern slope, ears pricked, body tense. Then it does something strange. It steps forward, just once, then stops, as if testing an invisible boundary. Brother Matthias inhales sharply. Enough, he says, voice harder now. The dog hesitates, then retreats. You don't miss the reluctance. Later, alone in your room, you review the footage. The ridge looks harmless on screen. Majestic. Empty. You rewind, pause, zoom in. There, etched faintly into the stone near the edge. Not scratches, letters. You adjust contrast. The shapes resolve slowly. Names, German, some scratch deep, others shallow, hurried. You sit back, breath uneven, the room suddenly too small. There's a knock at the door. You don't jump, but you do flinch. Brother Matthias steps inside when you open it. You shouldn't have that, he says quietly, eyes on the screen. Then you shouldn't have let me film, you reply. He doesn't argue. Instead, he closes the door behind him. There are things the mountain keeps, he says, and things it returns. Like dogs, you say. His gaze flicks to the doorway. Yes, he says, like dogs. Silence stretches. Your grandfather wanted to take the footage down, he continues, to show the world. What stopped him? Brother Matthias's jaw tightens. The dog, he says. Your heart stutters. What do you mean? He followed your grandfather to the ridge, Brother Matthias says, refused to leave. A memory stirs, a blurred frame on the old tape. The dog standing between the camera and the drop, body blocking the view. You think the dog understood? You ask. I think, he replies carefully, that it remembered what humans tried to forget. A distant bell tolls. Night approaches faster up here. Brother Matthias moves to leave, then pauses. The archives, he says. Tomorrow. Your pulse quickens. And the dog? Brother Matthias glances down the corridor, where the German shepherd sits in shadow, watching both of you. He will decide, he says. The door closes softly. You sit alone. Footage paused on a name carved into stone. Outside, the wind rises, and somewhere in the monastery, the dog stands, listening, not to the mountain, but to history, still trying to escape. You dream of snow that won't stop falling, not drifting, not settling, falling straight down, relentless, swallowing sound, erasing edges. You're walking uphill, legs burning, lungs tearing at the thin air, and every time you look back, your footprints are already gone. Something moves beside you, a shape pacing your stride, silent, tireless. You try to look at it, but the dream refuses to let you turn your head. Then a voice cuts through the wind. Bleb, stay. You wake with the word still lodged in your chest. The bell hasn't rung yet. Gray light presses against the small window, dawn bleeding slowly into the room. For a moment, you don't move. You listen instead to your own breathing, uneven and too loud, to the wind scraping along stone, to the faint sense that you're no longer alone. The dog sits by the door. It wasn't there when you fell asleep. Its posture is alert, head lifted, ears angled toward the corridor beyond, as if it's been listening all night for something that never came. You! Swing your legs down! Cold bites instantly, grounding you in the present. You rub your hands together, feeling circulation return in sharp pulses. Morning, you whisper. The dog turns its head slightly. Acknowledges you. Nothing more. You dress quickly. Layers, gloves, camera strap tight against your chest. The weight of it steadies you, reminds you that you're here to record, not to drift too far into whatever this place is trying to pull from you. When you open the door, Brother Matthias is waiting. He looks like he hasn't slept. There's been a change, he says. The dog steps between you without prompting. In what, you ask? In what you're allowed to see? Your pulse quickens. Why now? Brother Matthias glances at the dog. Because it followed you to the ridge yesterday, he says, and because it stayed outside your door all night. You absorb that in silence. Come, he adds, before anyone decides otherwise. The archives are below the chapel, deeper than you expected. The stairway down is narrow, cut roughly into the mountain, handholds smoothed by generations of use. The air grows colder with each step, dampness seeping through stone, carrying the smell of old paper and iron and something faintly acrid. The dog descends ahead of you, always ahead. You count the steps without meaning to. 30, 40, 50. You lose count somewhere around where the light thins and the walls seem to press closer. Brother Matthias unlocks a heavy wooden door reinforced with iron bands. The sound echoes, sharp and final. Inside, the archives breathe. That's the only way to describe it. Shelves line the walls from floor to ceiling, stacked with ledgers, boxes, rolled maps. Candles burn low in iron sconces, their flames barely touching the edges of the darkness. The temperature drops another degree the moment you step inside, as if the mountain itself is guarding what's kept here. The dog stops just inside the threshold, sits, refuses to go farther. You glance back at it. It won't enter, Brother Matthias says quietly. Why? He hesitates. Because this is where memory is stored, he says, and memory can bite. You step forward anyway. Your boots echo softly on the stone floor. Each sound feels intrusive, like you're disturbing something that's been resting for decades. Brother Matthias moves to one of the shelves and pulls free a box. The cardboard is brittle with age, edges soft, corners collapsing inward. He sets it on a table. Your grandfather spent most of his time here, he says. Not filming. Then what was he doing? Reading. He opens the box. Inside are folders, photographs, documents stamped and restamped in ink faded almost to nothing. Names jump out at you immediately. German, Austrian, Italian. Dates cluster around the same few years. Brother Matthias hands you a photograph. Your fingers hesitate before taking it. It's black and white, grainy, taken from a distance. A mountain road, a truck stopped at a bend. Snow piled high on either side. Men stand near the back faces, indistinct, hats pulled low. And there, unmistakable even through the blur, is a German shepherd. You recognize the posture instantly, alert, controlled, waiting for command. Your chest tightens. That's him, you say. The first, Brother Matthias confirms. You look closer. There's a symbol painted faintly on the truck door, almost obscured by snow and shadow. But you know it. You've seen enough archival footage to know it. Your mouth goes dry. This was an escape route, you say. Yes, for Nazis. Yes. The words don't come with anger. They come with exhaustion. This monastery, you continue slowly, helped them. Brother Matthias doesn't argue. We gave shelter, he says. We did not ask questions. But you knew. We suspected, he replies. And suspicion was easier to live with than certainty. You set the photograph down carefully, like it might shatter. And the dog, you ask? Brother Matthias opens another folder. Inside is a ledger. Names fill the pages in careful script. Dates of arrival, dates of departure. Most entries are brief, one isn't. König arrived, March 1945, departed. No departure date. Just a blank space that stretches across the page like an accusation. He was trained, Brother Matthias says, extensively. As a hunting dog, you ask? As a tracking dog, he corrects. For men, your stomach drops. For men, your stomach drops. To find them, you whisper. To follow, he says. To guard. To intimidate. The dog's low sound echoes faintly from the doorway. You turn. It hasn't moved, but its eyes are locked on the ledger. Why keep breeding them, you ask suddenly? Why keep his bloodline alive? Brother Matthias closes the folder. Because the monks who came after believed they were preserving something innocent, he says. Loyalty, strength, discipline. And you ask? He meets your gaze. I believe, he says, that we were preserving a reminder. Of what? Of complicity. The word lands hard. You step back, breath uneven, the room tilting slightly as altitude and truth collide. My grandfather, you say. What made him stop filming? Brother Matthias reaches into the box one last time. He pulls out a reel. Old, metal canister dented at the edges. He filmed this, he says, and then he put the camera down. You take the reel. It's heavier than it should be. What's on it, you ask? Watch it, he says, if you still want to. You hesitate. The dog shifts, stands, takes one step into the archive. Just one. Brother Matthias's breath catches. The dog looks at you, not warning, not pleading, inviting. You nod once. I want to see, you say. The projection room is small, bare, a single chair, a whitewashed wall, an old projector that hums to life reluctantly, like it resents being woken. You sit. The dog lies down beside you, body aligned with yours, gaze fixed on the blank wall. The reel clicks into place. Light flares, then steadies. The footage opens on the monastery courtyard, familiar now, snow falling gently, monks moving in silence. Then the camera turns, follows a man. Your grandfather. You recognize his gait immediately, slight limp in the left leg, the way he pauses before stepping into frame, checking light, checking focus. The dog appears. You inhale sharply. It's younger, powerful, eyes sharp with purpose. The footage follows them to the eastern ridge. Your heart hammers. You know what's coming. The camera pans down to the names carved into stone. Then it tilts up. And there, a man stands at the edge, facing the camera. His face is clear, too clear. You've seen it before, in textbooks, in documentaries, in trial footage. A war criminal who was never convicted, never found. Your hands curl into fists. Behind him, the dog sits, perfectly still, guarding. Your grandfather's voice cracks through the projector's hum. You don't belong here, he says. The man smiles. I disagree. The dog does not move. The footage ends abruptly. The projector whirs, then stops. The silence afterward is crushing. You sit frozen, the image burned into your mind, the implication unbearable. The dog lifts its head, looks at you, and you understand, with devastating clarity, why your grandfather couldn't finish the film. Because the mountain didn't just hide men, it trained witnesses. You don't move for a long time. The projector is silent now, its light extinguished, but the image still pulses behind your eyes. The man's smile, the way he stood too comfortably at the edge of nothing, the dog sitting behind him, still, precise, obedient, waiting. Your fingers ache where they've clenched into fists. You loosen them slowly, one by one, as if convincing your body you're still allowed to exist in the present. The dog shifts beside you, not closer, just enough that its shoulder brushes your leg. Warm, solid, real. You exhale, realizing you've been rationing air like it might run out. That was him, you whisper. The dog's ears flick, not in recognition, in response. You stand, legs unsteady, and turn off the projector completely. The room plunges into candlelit dimness, shadows reclaiming the corners as if relieved to be left alone again. Brother Matthias waits by the door. He doesn't ask what you saw. He doesn't need to. You understand now, he says. Yes, you reply. Then, after a beat, I understand that I don't understand enough. He inclines his head slightly. Most people stop at the first realization, he says. They name the crime. They name the accomplices. They feel righteous. And you ask? We stayed, he says, and living with it is more complicated. You step past him into the corridor. The dog follows. The day darkens early. Clouds gather fast at this altitude, swallowing sunlight without ceremony. By the time you reach the upper paths again, the world has flattened into shades of gray and white, edges softened by approaching snow. You film anyway. You film because it gives your hands purpose. You film the dog walking ahead of you, its form steady against the chaos of wind. You film the monastery walls disappearing into fog. You film the flags snapping violently, their colors bleeding into one another. You don't narrate. You don't frame conclusions. You just record. At the eastern ridge, you stop. Brother Matthias lingers several steps back this time. He doesn't tell you not to go closer. The dog halts at the same invisible line as before. It plants its paws, refuses. Is this where it ends? You ask softly. The dog doesn't look at you. You take one step forward. The wind roars louder than before, a sudden force that shoves at your chest, testing your balance. Snow stings your face like thrown sand. You stop! The dog turns its head sharply, locks eyes with you. The look is unmistakable. Not fear, not warning, memory. You step back. The wind eases just slightly, as if satisfied. Brother Matthias approaches. This ridge, he says, was never just a passage. What was it, you ask? A test, he replies, of how much truth someone could carry without falling. You glance down the slope, endless, unforgiving. How many failed, you ask? Enough, he says. The dog sits, faces outward, guarding the drop like it always has. That night, sleep refuses to take you gently. You lie awake listening to the monastery settle, wood creaking, stone contracting, wind worrying at every seam. The dog lies just inside your door again, its presence a constant pressure against the silence. Your mind keeps circling the same question. If the dog was trained to guard men, why did it stay when the man left? You slip from the bed and open the door quietly. The dog rises instantly. You don't speak. You just gesture down the corridor. It hesitates, just for a moment. Then it turns and leads you, not toward the ridge, not toward the archives, but deeper into the monastery, along a passage you haven't taken before. The air changes as you descend, colder, heavier. The smell of old stone gives way to something sharper, oil, rust, damp earth. The corridor ends at a low door reinforced with iron. The dog stops, sits, looks up at you. Your heartbeat thuds in your ears. This wasn't in the tour, you murmur. You reach for the handle. It doesn't budge. Locked. You glance down at the dog. Its gaze drops to the floor, then back to the door. You crouch, run your fingers along the stone at the base. Your hand catches on something recessed. A latch. Hidden. Your pulse accelerates as you lift it. The door groans open. The space beyond is small, crude. Not a room meant for prayer or records. A holding cell. Chains hang from the wall. Iron corroded with age. A narrow bench sits against the far side, splintered and worn. Scratches cover the stone lines and marks and words carved in desperation rather than ceremony. The dog steps inside. Walks directly to the far wall. Sits. Stares. You approach slowly. Your light catches the carvings. Names again. But these are different, shorter, cruder, some crossed out, some circled, and beneath them written deeper than the rest, as if carved again and again until the stone gave way. König blaped. King stays, your chest tightens. He stayed, you whisper, not as a choice, as an order. The dog lowers its head. For the first time since you arrived, it lies down completely, body pressed to the stone floor, posture no longer alert, just heavy. waiting. You understand then? The dog wasn't guarding the escape. It was guarding the silence afterward, ensuring no one spoke, no one followed, no one disturbed what was left behind. A living lock, a witness that could never testify. You step back, the weight of it pressing down until your knees threaten to buckle. Footsteps echo behind you. Brother Matthias stands in the doorway. His face drains of color when he sees the open cell. I told them to seal this, he says. They didn't, you reply. Or they couldn't, he says quietly. The dog doesn't move. Why keep this hidden, you ask. Brother Matthias closes his eyes. Because if the dog was guilty, he says, then so were we. Silence swells, thick and suffocating. Outside, the storm intensifies. Snow begins to fall hard against stone, erasing paths, softening edges, burying tracks as it always has. You look at the dog, at the way it lies there, carrying orders given decades ago by men long dead. You've been waiting for something, you whisper. The dog lifts its head. Meets your gaze, and in its eyes you see it clearly now. Not loyalty, not obedience. Expectation. The storm arrives without ceremony. One moment the wind is restless, pacing the monastery walls like a caged thing. The next, it slams into the mountain with full force, howling through every crack and corridor, rattling shutters, making the ancient stone groan as if it remembers other nights like this. Snow falls sideways. Visibility collapses to nothing beyond a few meters. Brother Matthias seals the lower door himself. You watch his hands tremble as he slides the iron bolt into place. We don't leave our rooms tonight, he says. Not for prayer, not for anything. The dog stands beside you. It does not protest. It does not resist, but its body angles subtly toward the corridor leading down to the holding cell, as if part of it is still anchored there, still waiting for an order that hasn't been rescinded. You said the dog decides! You say! Brother Matthias doesn't look at you. Yes, he replies. And tonight, it is already decided. Sleet never comes. The storm claws at the monastery, relentless, unyielding. Snow piles against doors and windows, sealing the place off from the rest of the world as completely as it was sealed decades ago. You sit on the edge of your bed, camera resting in your lap, fingers tracing its edges without awareness. The dog lies near the door, head up, eyes open, always watching, always listening. You replay the same thought again and again, unable to escape it. If the dog was ordered to stay, who has the authority to release it? You don't have to carry this, you whisper, not sure if you're speaking to the dog or to yourself. The dog's ears flick. A sound reaches you, then faint but distinct. Metal, not breaking, moving, your spine stiffens. You hold your breath. There it is again, a low scrape, deliberate, measured. Not the wind, not the monastery settling, footsteps. Your pulse spikes loud enough that it feels like it might give you away. The dog rises, no hesitation, no uncertainty. It moves to the door, presses its nose briefly against the wood, then looks back at you. This is not a request, it's an expectation. You stand, your legs feel disconnected like they belong to someone else. You ease the door open, careful to keep it from creaking, and slip into the corridor behind the dog. The monastery is different at night. The candles are lower, their light stretched thin and nervous. Shadows pool where they didn't before, clinging to corners, thickening doorways. The wind moans through the upper levels, but down here the sound is muted, swallowed by stone. The dog moves with purpose. Not toward the ridge, not toward the archives, toward the holding cell. Your stomach drops. You said it was sealed, you murmur. The dog doesn't slow. The iron-reinforced door stands open. The latch hangs loose. Cold air spills from within, carrying the sharp scent of disturbed dust and old rust. Someone has been here! Your chest tightens! You step inside! The chains sway gently. Not from the draft, from recent movement. Your light sweeps across the walls, across the carvings, across the words burned into your memory. König blatt, king stays. The dog stands beneath them now. Its posture is wrong, too rigid, too precise, as if it has slipped backward through time. Another sound echoes faintly from beyond the cell. A cough. Human. Your breath turns shallow. The dog reacts instantly. It steps forward, placing itself between you and the sound, body blocking the narrow passage leading deeper into the mountain. Guarding! Not you! What's behind it? A figure shifts in the darkness. You raise the camera light fully now, heart slamming against your ribs. A man stands there. Wrapped in heavy clothing, face partially obscured by shadow and scarf. Snow clings to his shoulders, melting slowly, leaving dark tracks down his coat. He freezes when the light hits him. The dog does not move. Its muscles coil, every line of its body radiating controlled restraint. The man raises his hand slowly. I didn't know anyone else was here, he says. His accent catches your ear immediately. German, not aged by time, not historical, contemporary. Who are you? You demand. A historian, he replies too quickly. I study. The dog growls. Low, warning. The man's eyes flick to it. Recognition flashes across his face before he can stop it. You should call it off, he says, voice tight. That dog is dangerous. The words hit you like a slap. Call it off from what? You ask. He swallows. From doing what it was trained to do. The dog takes one step forward. The man stumbles back. Stay where you are, you say sharply. Do you know what this place is? He snaps. What it protected? Yes, you reply. Do you? Silence stretches. The wind roars above you, distant but furious, as if the mountain itself is straining to listen. I needed to see it, the man says finally. To confirm. Confirm what? That the bloodline was still intact. You pulse hammers. You came here for the dog, you say. For what it represents, he corrects. For what it remembers. The dog stops. Its ears lift. It tilts its head slightly, studying the man with unnerving focus. You shouldn't have brought it back, the man says, eyes never leaving the animal. Breeding it, training it the same way, you froze it in time. Brother Matthias's voice cuts in from behind you. That was never the intention. You spin. He stands in the doorway, candle shaking in his grip, face pale. You lied, the man says bitterly. You told us it was gone. We told you the truth, Brother Matthias replies. It never left. The man laughs softly, a sound devoid of humor. Then you know why I'm here, he says. There are people who would pay dearly for proof, for continuity. The implication sickens you. You're trying to revive it, you say, not the dog, the purpose. The man's jaw tightens. History doesn't disappear just because you feel guilty about it. The dog moves again. Another step. Closer. Its growl deepens, vibrating through the stone floor. The man's breathing quickens. You need to stop it, he says, panic cracking through his voice now. You don't understand. I understand, you interrupt. More than you ought to. The dog is waiting, not for an order from him, from you. Every instinct screams that this is wrong, that no living being should carry the weight of commands given in another century. But the truth is already carved into the walls, etched into bloodlines in stone. If you say nothing, the past will decide. The man takes a step back, foot slipping on stone. The dog lunges, not to attack, to block. It slams its body into him, knocking him sideways, pinning him against the wall with terrifying precision. The man cries out, breath punched from his lungs. The dog's teeth hover inches from his throat. Controlled, waiting. Your heart races so violently it feels like it might tear free. Enough, you say. The word echoes. The dog freezes. Its muscles quiver, every line of its body taut with conflicting commands. You step forward slowly. Each movement feels like it carries consequence far beyond this moment. You don't guard anymore, you say, voice shaking but steady enough. You don't stay. The dog's eyes lock onto yours. Dark, intelligent, torn. Release, you whisper. For a heartbeat, nothing happens. Then the dog steps back. The pressure vanishes. The man collapses to the floor, gasping, clutching his chest. The dog retreats fully to your side. Sits. For the first time since you arrived, its posture is uncertain, as if the world has shifted beneath it. Brother Matthias sinks to his knees. It's done, he whispers, isn't it? You don't answer, because outside the storm reaches its peak. Snow buries the eastern ridge completely. The past is sealed in white. Morning doesn't arrive. It reveals itself. The storm loosens its grip sometime before dawn, not all at once, but in hesitant withdrawals. The wind lowers its voice. Snow stops falling and instead settles, heavy and complete, pressing silence into every contour of the mountain. When you step outside, the world is unrecognizable. Paths are gone, edges erased. The monastery looks as if it has been partially swallowed, its lower walls buried, doors half sealed by white drifts. Even the sound of your breathing feels intrusive. The dog stands beside you, not guarding, not leading, waiting. Its posture has changed in subtle ways you can't fully articulate. The rigidity is gone. The constant outward orientation has softened. Its gaze still tracks the horizon, but now it flicks back to you, checking in, as if recalibrating a lifetime of instruction. Brother Matthias joins you in the courtyard. He looks older than he did yesterday, as if one night peeled years away instead of adding them. The eastern ridge is unstable, he says. The storm buried everything. I know, you reply. The dog turns its head sharply toward the ridge. Then back to you. You want to go, Brother Matthias says, reading the decision already etched into your stance. Yes, you could leave, he says quietly. Take the footage, take the truth down the mountain, and let it stay buried up here, you ask. He doesn't answer. Because the dog has already started walking. The ascent is slow, dangerously so. Snow reaches mid-calf in places, hiding stone and empty space alike. Each step requires intention, testing weight, shifting balance, listening for the subtle betrayal of settling ground. The dog moves ahead, choosing the path with care that borders on reverence. It doesn't rush. It doesn't hesitate. It navigates as if memory lives in its muscles, passed down through generations, not as instruction, but as instinct. You follow. Your lungs burn. The altitude steals strength with each breath, forcing pauses you don't want to take. Your gloves soak through with cold. Your fingers ache where they grip the camera strap. Still, you keep filming. The ridge emerges slowly from the white. A suggestion at first, then definition, then the full, terrifying reality of it, an exposed spine of rock cutting through the snow like a scar that refuses to heal. The names are gone, buried, erased. The dog stops at the invisible boundary, the same place, always the same place. Wind lifts snow in thin veils around you, revealing nothing, concealing everything. Brother Matthias stands behind you now, close enough that you can hear the rasp of his breathing. "This is where your grandfather stopped," he says. You nod. "This is where he was blocked. You correct?" The dog looks up at you. For the first time, it steps forward, crosses the line. Your breath stalls. Nothing happens. No sudden gust, no shifting stone, no divine warning. Just the dog, standing on the ridge where it was never meant to stand again. Free. You step forward too. The wind presses against you immediately, testing, measuring, snow swirls stinging your face, but the ground holds. You reach the edge. The drop is absolute, the kind of depth that makes your body lean back without permission, muscles tightening to keep you upright. The mountain falls away into white nothingness, a void that swallows sound and certainty alike. You raise the camera. Your hands tremble, not from fear alone, but from the weight of what this moment represents. "This is where it ended," you murmur, "and where it didn't." The dog sits beside you, not facing outward, facing you. You lower the camera. "What do you want?" you ask softly. The question feels foolish the moment it leaves your mouth. Dogs don't want like humans do. They don't negotiate history. And yet, the dog rises, turns, looks down the ridge, then back at you. Then, deliberately, it walks past you, away from the edge, away from the monastery, down the slope that leads not to stone walls and silence, but to the long descent into the valley below. Brother Matthias exhales sharply. "It's leaving," he says. "Yes," you reply, for the first time. The dog stops a few steps down, looks back, waiting. Not for command, for company. You glance once more at the ridge, at the buried names, the hidden past, the place where obedience was once carved into stone and flesh alike. Then you turn away. You follow the dog. The descent is harder than the climb. Snow conceals ice. Ice conceals air. Each step demands trust in your footing, in the dog's choices, in the belief that release doesn't mean forgetting. Halfway down, your legs begin to shake from fatigue. You stop, bending forward, hands braced on your knees, breath scraping in and out like it has to be convinced each time. The dog returns to you, presses its side against your leg. Steady, anchoring. You laugh softly, the sound torn away almost immediately by wind. "Looks like you're still guarding something," you say. The dog's tail flicks once, but it doesn't move back to the lead until you straighten again. When the valley finally comes into view, it feels unreal. Color returns slowly. Dark green pines, slate rock. The faint thread of a road cutting through the distance. Civilization, fragile but persistent. You stop filming. Some moments don't belong in a frame. Brother Matthias halts beside you. "This mountain will keep its secrets," he says. "Yes, you agree, but not the dog." He nods once. "Then the monastery will have to learn how to live without its reminder." You watch the dog stand at the threshold between snow and earth. It sniffs the air, steps forward. The road appears gradually, not all at once, not dramatically. Just a thin gray line cutting through the valley like a question that's been waiting longer than anyone remembers. Snow gives way to gravel. Wind softens. Sound returns in fragments. The distant rush of water, the muted call of a bird you don't recognize, the crunch of your boots on something other than stone and ice. The dog reaches it first, stops, stares at the road as if it might move. You stand a few steps behind, chest rising and falling too fast, legs trembling with a fatigue that goes deeper than muscle. This is as far as you ever imagined the story going. This is farther than your grandfather made it. The dog looks back at you. Not uncertain. Assessing. You step forward. The moment your boot touches the road, something inside you loosens. A tension you didn't realize you were carrying until it releases all at once. Your knees threaten to fold. You steady yourself with a hand on your thigh, breathing until the world settles. Behind you, the mountain looms. From down here, it looks impossibly serene, white, clean, innocent, a lie made of stone. Brother Matthias stops several paces back. He doesn't step onto the road. "This is where I stay," he says. You nod. "You don't want to come down?" He shakes his head. "My vows are up there," he replies. "So are my debts." The dog stands between you, tail still, ears forward. "You won't follow," you say. Brother Matthias offers a faint, tired smile. The mountain will always need witnesses, he says. Just not this one. He reaches into his robe, withdraws something small. A folded paper. Your grandfather left this, he says, extending it. He asks that you have it if you ever came. Your fingers hesitate before taking it. The paper is thin, fragile, like it might crumble under the wrong kind of truth. You unfold it slowly. Your grandfather's handwriting fills the page, slanted, uneven, hurried in places. If you're reading this, it means the dog chose you. Your throat tightens. I thought the story was about loyalty. Then I realized it was about permission. Dogs obey until someone releases them. Men obey until they don't have to answer for it anymore. If you finish this, don't make the mountain a villain. It only held what we gave it. And don't punish the dog for what it was trained to do. Punish the silence instead. Your vision blurs. You fold the paper carefully and tuck it into your jacket, over your heart, as if placement might protect it. Brother Matthias steps back. The distance between you grows, then the dog moves. It steps fully onto the road. Its paws touch gravel for the first time in its life. It flinches, just slightly, then steadies. You watch as it takes another step, and another. Each movement deliberate, like it's rewriting something ingrained, not just in muscle, but in lineage. A vehicle approaches from down the valley, a small one, utility. Its engine hums low, unfamiliar after so long in silence. It slows when the driver sees you standing there, camera slung across your chest, a German shepherd at your side, snow-caked and unmistakably out of place. The truck stops. The window rolls down. Everything all right? The driver calls. You open your mouth, and for a moment, no sound comes out. Everything all right? You look at the dog, at the mountain, at the road that leads away from both. No, you say honestly, but it will be. The driver nods slowly, sensing this isn't a conversation meant for him. He points down the road. Nearest town's about 20 kilometers. Storm cut power last night. Roads are rough. We'll walk, you say. He hesitates, then shrugs. Suit yourself. The truck drives on. The sound fades. The dog watches it go, then looks at you. You crouch, meeting it at eye level. This is where it changes, you say softly. No orders, no guarding, no staying. The dog's head tilts. You extend your hand, not to command, not to test, just to offer. After a pause that feels like the mountain holding its breath one last time, the dog steps forward and presses its nose into your palm. Warm, alive, present. You close your fingers gently around its muzzle, resting your forehead briefly against its fur. It smells of snow and stone and something unmistakably animal beneath it all. When you stand, the dog is already moving. Down the road! Into a future no one trained it for. The town is small, quiet. Recovering from the storm the way mountain towns always do, with routine and resilience and unspoken understanding. People glance at you as you pass, curious but not intrusive. A woman pauses, sweeping snow from her doorway to watch the dog trot beside you. That's a fine animal, she says. Thank you, you reply. She nods as if that's the end of it. You find a place to stay, a single room above a closed cafe. Heat rattles through old pipes. The bed creaks when you sit. Civilization feels strange against your skin after so much stone and wind. You set the camera on the desk. For the first time, you don't feel the urge to turn it on immediately. The dog circles the room once, twice, then lies down near the window, facing outward. Old habits don't disappear overnight, but when you move, it turns its head, checks, stays connected. You pull out the footage, the ridge, the names, the ledger, the cell, the confrontation, the release. You watch it all straight through, hands steady, jaw clenched, heart heavy but resolved. This isn't a feel-good story. It's not clean. It doesn't end with absolution. It ends with acknowledgement, with responsibility, with a dog that finally walked away from the place it was never meant to protect forever. Outside, the mountain fades into evening shadow. Inside, you begin to edit. The internet does not wait. It never has. You upload the documentary 3 days later, sitting alone in the quiet cafe below your room while the dog sleeps at your feet, curled tight against the radiator like it's learning warmth all over again. Outside, the town moves on. Snow being shoveled, deliveries made, life resuming its familiar rhythm. Inside, history re-enters the world. You don't add dramatic music. You don't add narration that tells people what to feel. You let the footage speak. The ridge, the names, the ledger, the cell, the man's face in your grandfather's film, unmistakable, undeniable, the dog stepping away. You title it exactly what your grandfather wrote in his notebook, Why the Mountain Dog Never Came Down. Then you press publish. The upload bar fills slowly, pixel by pixel, like a confession being assembled in real time. When it finishes, nothing happens. For almost an hour. You sip coffee you've forgotten to sweeten. The bitterness doesn't register. Your leg aches from the descent. Your fingers keep drifting to the folded letter in your pocket, touching it through the fabric like a talisman. Then your phone vibrates. Once, twice. Again, comments begin to appear. At first, they're cautious, curious, confused. Is this real? That monastery, does anyone know where it is? The dog? Holy shit. Then the shares start. Journalists, historians, survivors organizations. Someone identifies the man in the footage by name. Someone else posts a side-by-side comparison. Your grandfather's frame next to an archival photograph. It's the same face. The cafe owner turns the radio up slightly behind the counter. Your documentary title is spoken aloud by a voice that doesn't know you. A filmmaker has released shocking footage linking an isolated Alpine monastery to post-war escape routes. Your chest tightens. You stand abruptly, chair legs scraping against tile too loudly, and step outside into the cold air. The dog follows instantly. Snow crunches beneath your boots as you pace the narrow street, phone pressed to your ear, though no one is on the other end. Notifications stack faster than you can read them. Emails flood in. Interview requests. Threats disguised as concern. You don't understand what you've done. Take it down before you regret it. My grandfather disappeared on that route. Thank you. Your breath turns uneven. The dog presses close, flank warm against your leg, grounding you. You crouch and bury your fingers briefly in its fur, breathing until the world slows enough to be navigable again. It started, you whisper. The dog doesn't react. It doesn't need to. The backlash comes that night. Anonymous messages escalate into something sharper, more specific. Someone posts the address of the monastery. Another claims the footage is manipulated. A third accuses you of exploiting history for attention. You sit on the bed, laptop open, the glow painting the walls an artificial blue, and read until the words blur together. The dog stands between you and the door. Not rigid, not trained, protective by choice. There's a knock. Your heart lurches. You don't move. The dog steps forward, doesn't growl, just stands. The knock comes again, then a voice. Room service, someone calls. You didn't order dinner. You exhale shakily. Just a mistake, you say, voice steadying. Thank you. Footsteps retreat. You sink back onto the bed, hands trembling now that the adrenaline has somewhere to go. This is the cost, you think. Not danger. Exposure. Truth doesn't arrive cleanly. It arrives like this, messy, loud, contested. You close the laptop. For the first time since you began this journey, you let yourself not look. The next morning, the call comes from Berlin. A prosecutor, measured, careful. They want the original footage. They want the ledger scans. They want everything. You agree. When you hang up, the silence in the room feels different. Lighter. Not because the weight is gone, but because it's finally shared. The dog watches you pack your camera gear with quiet interest. You won't like the city, you tell it softly. Too loud, too crowded. Its tail thumps once against the floor. You pause. Unless you do, you add. The dog rises and moves to the window, gazing out at the mountains in the distance, now softened by space and atmosphere. It stands there for a long moment, then it turns away. Comes back to you. Decision made. News breaks faster than anyone expects. Other monasteries are named, other routes mapped, other silences cracked open. Survivors speak. Families receive answers they were never promised. And somewhere in the avalanche of information, your grandfather's name appears. Not as a footnote, not as a victim, but as the man who stopped filming because he realized the story wasn't his to finish, until it was yours. Late that night, exhausted beyond words, you sit on the floor beside the bed, back against the wall, the dog curled against your side. I didn't know if I should, you murmur. The dog lifts its head, looks at you, not with judgment, with presence. You rest your forehead against its neck, feeling the steady rhythm of its breathing. The mountain will never answer for itself, but the silence it kept is finally speaking. The city never truly sleeps, it just changes tone. Berlin at night hums instead of roars, traffic distant, voices softened by glass and brick, history layered so densely into the streets that even silence feels occupied. You stand at the window of your small apartment, lights flickering below like signals you don't need to answer. The dog lies behind you, not by the door, by the window, watching with you. Its reflection overlaps yours in the glass, two silhouettes held together by coincidence and consequence. From here, the mountain feels unreal, like a story you dreamed too vividly to forget. The news cycle has already begun to move on. There are panels now, investigations, committees, the language of accountability cautious and procedural, names spoken aloud in rooms designed to absorb them. Some will face justice, some never will. History never balances its books cleanly. You learn that early. The dog lifts its head as a siren passes below, distant but sharp. Its ears twitch, its body tenses just for a moment, then settles again. You notice these things now, the pauses, the recalibrations, the way freedom isn't an absence of instinct, but a renegotiation with it. You visit an archive 2 weeks later. Not the kind carved into stone. This one smells of paper and climate control and fresh coffee. Rows of labeled boxes stretch into orderly distance. A young archivist wheels a cart toward you, smiling nervously like she's aware she's touching something fragile. "These are the copies," she says. "We'll preserve the originals under restricted access." You nod. The dog waits patiently at your side, leash loose in your hand. Not pulling, not resisting. People glance at it with admiration. Someone asks if they can pet it. You say yes. The dog allows it. Allows! The archivist hesitates, then says, "It's strange, seeing it all connected like this." "Yes," you reply. "It is." She gestures to the boxes. "Do you want to stay while we catalog?" You shake your head. "No," you say gently. "It's time for it to belong to someone else." Outside, the dog squints against unexpected sunlight. You laugh quietly. "Still adjusting?" you ask. The dog sneezes. The letter from Brother Matthias arrives in late spring. The envelope is thin, the handwriting familiar. Inside, the words are spare. The ridge has changed. Snow melted earlier this year. Some names returned. You read the lines twice. Then you fold the letter and place it in the same pocket as your grandfather's. A matching weight. Balanced now. You stop filming for a while. Not out of fear, out of respect. There are interviews you decline, awards you don't attend, invitations that feel like they want the story more than they want the truth. Instead, you walk. Parks, rivers, side streets where nothing important has ever happened and no one expects anything from you. The dog learns the city the way it learned the mountain. Carefully, attentively, always cataloging the world with its nose and eyes and body before committing to trust. One afternoon, you sit on a bench watching children play. The dog lies at your feet. A ball rolls too close. A child freezes, unsure. "It's okay," you say automatically. "He's gentle." The dog lifts its head, looks at the child, then rests its chin back on its paws. Permission granted. The child giggles and runs off. You realize then that this ordinary moment is the real ending your grandfather never got to film. Not revelation, not exposure. Continuation. Months later, you return to the valley. Not to the monastery. Not yet. You stand on the same road where everything changed. Gravel warm under summer sun, the mountains green and impossibly calm. From here, the ridge is invisible, just another line folded into the distance. The dog stands beside you, older now, somehow, not in body, in presence. "You don't have to go back," you say. The dog doesn't move toward the mountain. It looks down the road instead, toward the town, toward whatever comes next. You smile. That's what I thought. That night, back in your room, you watch your grandfather's footage one last time. Not the ridge, not the man, the earlier tape, the one that started it all. The dog young, alert standing in fresh snow while monks laugh softly behind the camera. The moment freezes, imperfect and human and incomplete. You pause it. The dog beside you watches the screen, then looks away. Finished! You turn the television off. Darkness fills the room. Not heavy, not ominous, just quiet. You sit on the floor and lean back against the bed. The dog settles beside you, warm and steady, breathing slow and even. The mountain will always exist, so will the darkness it sheltered. But tonight, here in this ordinary room, a vigil that lasted 70 years has ended, not with judgment, not with punishment, but with release.